All right, so last video I went through my teacher bag. I mentioned that I quit teaching last December. Been doing a different job for a while, but I need to get all this teacher stuff out. And I don't think I'm ever going to write a book, so I might as well just talk to you about it and share this out there in case it helps anybody else. So August, a couple notes I wrote down about August when I was teaching. I spent 18 years in the classroom and a little bit more, and August was always an interesting time. So, a couple quick things. If you're wondering what teachers are going through in August, or at least what I went through, I'll kind of share that with you. I decided to call August the anxiety month. This is the time when you're wondering how it's going to go, what's going to happen, what's new, what's different, what's on tap for you as you head back to the classroom and see other people and all of that. So, first thing I wrote down is in service. Schools I was at, it was always some probably week long activity of some sort that didn't really help much. Sometimes they'd have a speaker come in, sometimes they'd have different activities for you to do. They're usually kind of set up by administration, other people to build team and all that stuff. But what you really want to do is just be in your classroom and get things ready. You know that the treadmill's going to start, and it's going to start, at 100 day one, and they have you out there doing weird scavenger hunts or counting paper clips to see what how many privileges you have, that kind of deal. And there's a lot of different meetings that maybe don't need to happen. A lot of ifs, thens. In services generally weren't that helpful to me. The restart, basically, you're coming back into everything's brand new. Even though you know how to do the job, even though you've been doing it for a while, there's stuff that got changed on you. And it was changes that maybe you like, maybe you don't like. A lot of the times, it's going to be changes that just make your job more difficult. I mean, you're talking about computer changes. Oh, by the way, we switched to this program, or this new thing we have here is going to be so much better. And if you've been around for a while, you know that thing that's new is actually something that was old, and it'll come back again in 5 more years. Or now you got to put all your curriculum online, or now you got to get it all offline because we don't want it out there, and change this, move that. And it's a lot of things that aren't going to help you with what your real job is, which is connecting with kids and helping them learn. So that's tough. New people. Every year, I didn't think there'd be as much turnover as there is, but I guess I'm gone now, so I'm turnover too. But there's always new people in your department, in your grade level, wherever you are. I always go out of my way to be really nice and try to be helpful, sacrifice some of the time that I could be using to set up bulletin boards and do that stuff to actually show them around, figure out where they're going. Just some little things that I wish people would have taught me, and I hope that was helpful for those people. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but it's always nice to know that when somebody needs help, they can find you and you'll help them, because a lot of the times you'll get a mentor, you'll get somebody who you're supposed to be connected with and ask those questions. But the truth is, if they're not in your same subject, or if they're not in that same grade level as you probably only see them when you're required to. That's kind of the way that goes. Expectations. There's new expectations every year. They might change it and say, this year you have to submit all these artifacts or documents or things that you are going to be really helpful for being a great teacher. And we're going to come in your classroom 3 times a year, and we're going to grade you completely on that. And everything else doesn't really matter as long as you do that. And we can talk about that more later with how people do observation lessons and my opinion on it. But that was always a tough one, the expectations, especially if you change a principal, if you change a department chair, if you're in the middle school or high school level, if you have somebody new that's just has different expectations but they don't express them to you, that's really, really difficult. At least it was for me. Schedules and duties. This is always fun. Depending on the size of your school, they might hand you a sheet and say, here's your schedules and duties. Or they might say, what I want you guys to do, if you're in a smaller school, get in the lunchroom or whatever, library, and sort out the duties. And I always thought this was just giant waste of time. I mean, just put it on a spreadsheet, just make it done, give it to us, tell us what we're doing. Of course, if you have bus duty in the middle of winter and you're outside, in the north like we are here, that's terrible. But you just deal with it for a week and you move on. One time was great. We actually were told to sign up for our own duties, and myself and another guy, we were like, this is a giant waste of time. So we just offered our recommendations, and really the other people just wanted to fight about who did what and when they did it, and they wanted to come up with some perfect plan, and we didn't have time for that. So we said, here's the deal. Put us in wherever you want. We don't really want to participate with deciding it because we don't care. And they said, well, we'll make you do everything then. We said, fine, we'll do it every day. No big deal. Just write it down and we'll take care of it. And then they got mad because that wasn't fair, and it turned into a big thing. Just with the duties and the schedules. The other thing with the schedule is your schedule might change over the summer. It might change after the first week, second week, third week. They might decide later on, I know your prep was this hour, but now we're going to switch it to this hour. Or we're going to add this class in. Or now all of a sudden we're going to do this instead. So depending on where you're at, schedules change a lot. It's a lot of, for people who really want structure, there's a lot of unstructuredness that happens. And it just fuels that anxiety for kids and teachers and just everybody involved. It was really tough. Open houses. Some schools have open house where they'll invite students to come in on the first day, second day, third day, whatever, and drop off things. And depending on how big the school is, they'll vary it. I did a lot of sixth grade teaching, so a lot of my open house time was spent helping kids with lockers and helping parents with lockers if they didn't know how to do it, and kind of watching that fight and interaction. And I just think about how miserable it is to walk into a school for the first time and you have a negative experience trying to fight over a locker. It's tough. So just being helpful there was super huge. The other thing about open house is not everybody comes. Or some people, one time we had somebody who was supposed to be a drop-in, 15-minute, hey, how you doing, and then move on. The dad dropped off the kids and said, all right, have a good day. And we were like, well, it's only supposed to be a short visit. And he goes, nope, school day. They're going to be here all day with you. And then those kids just wandered around the building, which I don't know if it wasn't clearly expressed or if that's just how he wanted to do it. But that was kind of a tough thing there too. But beginning of the school year, always tough. Whatever you can get set up is great. A lot of the times things you plan right now aren't going to matter much later on. And I would just focus on that relationship you're building with those kids so they can see you as a friendly face. Somebody who needs help, they can get help from you. I always wanted to be the guy that if a kid had an issue and wanted help, they would feel safe enough to come to me and say, hey, will you help me with this? And you can tell there's some teachers that they don't want to go to because, frankly, they're mean and cranky and it makes them uncomfortable. So, but to be approachable, comfortable, beginning of the school year, being out there in the hallways, super huge thing if you can, but if you're out there, then they might be doing weird stuff in the room. It's just, but August is all about, this year is going to be the year, and it might be, it might not be, but there's always something different in there, and you end up spending more time than you wanted to doing things you have to do that there's not time scheduled for. I'll close with this. One guy that I taught with said, it's funny how we spend so much time talking about things that we're not going to be doing in a month in August. And it's true. You do the stuff in August, it doesn't really matter. It's kind of like preseason football. You show up, you try to play the game, not get hurt, and then just wait for the regular season to start. Because the truth is, with all those kids there, none of it matters. You don't have a job. You don't have a place to be. So, teachers out there, good luck. I hope you made it through August okay, and you're working on September stuff. Kids will be showing up soon. Kids out there, hope you have a great school year.